Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If you can scroll up a little bit, please, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 1, chapter 14. Sorry, yeah, thank you. Shri Sukha Nishamya Gaurasavinopavărnitam Hare Katham Karana Sukaratmana Punasa Paprachatam Udyata Gnari Nachatit Prapto Vidura Dritavrataha.
Sukadeva Goswami said, after hearing from the great sage Maitreya about the Lord's incarnation as Vraha, Vidura, who had taken a vow, begged him with folded hands to please narrate further transcendental activities of the Lord, since he, Vidura, did not yet feel satisfied.
Text 2. Vidura Vacha Taneva tu Muni Shrestha Harinayagna Adidaityo Hiranyaksho Hata iti Anushushruma.
Sri Vidura said, O chief amongst the great sages, I have heard my disciplinic succession that Hiranyakasha, the original demon, was slain by the same form of sacrifice as the personality of Godhead, Lord Ba.
Text 3. Tasya Chorata Shonim Swadam Strag Agranalilaya Daityarajasya cha Brahman Kashmadetur Abumradaha.
What was the reason, O Brahma, for the fight between the demon king and Lord Ba? While the Lord was lifting the earth and as his pastime.
Text 4. Shadhyanaya Bhaktaya Bruhita Janma Vishtaram Rashina Tripyati Manaha Param Kautuhalam Himi.
My mind has become very inquisitive, and therefore I am not satisfied with hearing the narration of the Lord's appearance. Please, therefore, speak more and more to a devotee who is faithful.
Text 5. Maitra Uvacha Sadhuvira Tvaya Prashtam Avatara Katham Hare Yatvam Praschashi Mrityanam Mrityupasa Visatanim.
The great sage Maitreya said, O warrior, the inquiry made by you is just befitting a devotee, because it concerns the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. He is the source of liberation from the chain of birth and death for all those who are otherwise destined to die.
Text 6. Yayotana Padaputro Munina Gitayarbakha Mrityukritvaiva Murtini Angrim Aruraha Hare Padam.
By hearing these topics from the sage Narada, the son of King Atipada, Dhruva was enlightened regarding the personality of Godhead, and he ascended to the abode of the Lord, placing his feet over the head of death.
Text 7. Atatra Piti Hasoyam Shuttome Varnita Pura Brahmana Deva Devena Devanam Anuprachatam.
This history of the fight between the Lord Azabah and the demons Hiranyakashi Kasha was heard by me in a year long ago, and as it was described by the foremost of the demigods, Brahma, when he was questioned by the other demigods.
Text 8. Titirdakshaya nishattar maricham kashyapam patim aptyakama chakame sandhyayam rachayardita.
Diti, daughter of Daska, being afflicted with sex desire, begged her husband Kashipa, the son of Mercy, to have intercourse with her in the evening in order to beget a child.
Text 9. Ishtvagni jivam payasya purusham yajusham patim nimlochati arka asinam agni agare samahitam.
The sun was setting, and the sage was sitting in the trance after offering oblations to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, whose tongue is the sacrificial fire.
Text 10. Titiruvacha ishamam tvatkrata vidvan kama atta sarasanaha tunoti dinam vikramya rambyam eva matangajaha.
In that place, the beautiful Diti expressed her desire. O learned one, Cupid is taking his arrows and distressing me forcibly, as a mad elephant troubles a banana tree.
Text 11. Tatpavandayamanayam sapatinanam smritibiha prajavatinam bhadram te maya yuktam anugraham.
Therefore, you should be kind towards me by showing me complete mercy. I desire to have sons, and I am happy, much distressed by seeing the opulence of my co-wives. By performing this act, you will become happy.
Text 12. Bhartari apturam mananam lokan avishyate yashaha patir bhavat vito yasam prajaye nanujayate.
A woman is honored in the world of benediction of her husband, and a husband like you will become famous by having children, because you are meant for the expansion of living entities.
Text 13. Purapita no Bhagavan Dakshodutir Vatsala Kamavrinita Varam Vatsa Iti Aprachatana Pratha.
In days long ago, our father, the most opulent Daskar, who was affectionate to his daughters, asked each of us separately whom we would prefer to select as our husband.
Text 14. Saviditva majanam no bhavam sanatana bhavana trayodasada tattasam yashte silam anuvrataha.
Our well-wishing father, Daskar, after knowing our intentions, handed over 13 of his daughters unto you, and since then we have all been faithful.
Text 15. Athame kuru kalyanam kamam kamalalochana arthopasapanam bhuman amogam hi mahiyashi.
O lotus-eyed one, kindly bless me by fulfilling my desire. When someone in distress approaches a great person, his pleas should never go in vain.
Text 16. Ititam viramarichaha kripanam bahubashinam pratyahanunaya vacha pravidananga kashmalam.
O hero Vidura, Diti, by being thus afflicted by the contamination of lust, and therefore poor and talkative, was pacified by the Son of Mercy in suitable words.
Text 17. ईशितहं वितस्यामि प्रियं वीरु यद् इच्छसि तस्य कामं न काकुर्यात् सिद्धिस्त्रैवर्गिकीयतः.
O afflicted one, I shall fall with gravity whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of the three perfections of liberation?
Text 18. Sarvashramam upadaya swashrimena kalatravan Vyasananavam atyeti chalayane yatharnavam.
As one can cross over the ocean with sea-going vessels, one can cross the dangerous situation of the material ocean by living with a wife.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for that wonderful recitation. Thank you. Jyoti Mataji, can I share the slides? Let's have a look. Yeah, okay, I'll try to share the slides. Okay, can you see the slides on the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so my humble obeisances to all the devotees. We will recite prayers and then we will discuss. Today's chapter is 14, verses 5 to 9, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यामनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथामितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्यईश्वरम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयामुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ततां प्रसङ्गान् मम वीरसंविदो भवन्ति रत्कर्णरसायना कथः तज्जोषनादाशपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धारतिर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति Om Tat Sat. So my humble obeisances again to all the devotees. I seek your blessings so we can discuss these beautiful verses today from 14th chapter. Mainly I want to for my purification and I pray that this can be beneficial to you all and to me also. So we seek blessings of the Acharyas and in light of the purports of Srila Prabhupada, we will discuss the verses. So Chapter 14, these are the contents. The title of chapter 14 is Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. And today's verses are 5 to 9. And first four verses are the Vidura's inquiries about Neelavaraha. So sometimes what happens is that even when we are hearing Krishna Katha, the speaker is so expert, has so much knowledge, and they go through something so fast. And then we feel that we could not understand at their speed, then we would also say that, sorry, can you slow down and explain these again? So as we know, Maitreya Muni explained the two Varaha pastimes mixed in one and in the previous chapter. So first verse Vidura says that please continue. And he says like after hearing the great sage Maitreya about Lord's incarnation as Varaha, so now Vidura had he had taken a vow, begged him with folded hands to please narrate further transcendental activities of the Lord. Since Vidura did not yet feel satisfied, he wanted to know the details. So then there is a backstory of Hiranyaksha. Maitreya Muni then describes Brahma's creation and he also mentioned both Varaha pastimes together. So Vidura had inquiries about Neela Varaha. And Vidura, who's listening attentively, wants to know about Hiranyaksha, his birth, his father, etc. And why was there a situation where Varahadev had to kill Hiranyaksha? What was the reason? And then the second text, he says, why fight? He says, O chief amongst the great sages, I have heard by disciplic succession that Hiranyaksha, the original demon, was slain by the same form of sacrifices, the personality of Godhead, Lord bore. And the third verse, he says, what was the reason, O Brahmana? Vidura is asking that what is the reason, O Brahmana Maitreya Muni, for the fight between the demon king and Lord Bor, while the Lord was lifting the earth as his pastime. So these are his inquiries. And the fourth verse is a very nice verse. It explains the qualities of a hearer of a transcendental message. He should be a faithful devotee, and also he should have an inquisitive mind and one who is not fully saturated, natrupyati. Then that is a very good hearer who is eager, inquisitive, wants to hear more and more about the glories of the Lord and his devotees. So this way, Vidura humbly expresses his full faith in Maitreya Muni. And he says, I'm very curious to know, so please elaborate on pastimes of Lord Varaha because my mind is not satisfied. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that one who is actually faithful and inquisitive is qualified to hear the transcendental pastimes of the appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vidura was a suitable candidate to receive such transcendental messages. So obviously the subject matter Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. It's about his pastimes Nama Rupa Guna Leela. So obviously the subject matter is very glorious. But at the same time, the speaker of Bhagavatam and the hearer of Bhagavatam should have mutual appreciation for each other, then that is a very good combination. A respectful eagerness and humble attitude of the speaker is very, very important. And the hearers should also be very eager to know about the Lord. So then that is a very nice qualities mentioned here. Then the fifth verse. Let's recite the verse and the translation. And someone wants to read purport. It's all here on the slide. So I'll read the verse. Maitreya Uvacha साधुवीर त्वया पृष्टम् अवतार कथां हरेः यत्त्वं पृच्छसि मर्त्यानां मृत्युपाशविशातनिम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The great sage Maitreya said, O warrior, the inquiry made by you is just befitting a devotee because it concerns the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. He is the source of liberation from the chain of birth and death for all those who are otherwise destined to die. So, purport. Anyone wants to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Sure.
Okay. Papa 3:14.5. The great sage Maitreya addressed Vidura as a warrior, not only because Vidura belonged to the Kuru family, but because he was anxious to hear about the chivalrous activities of the Lord in the incarnations of Varaha and Narasimha. Because the inquiries concerned the Lord, they are perfectly befitting a devotee. A devotee has no taste for hearing anything mundane. There are many topics of mundane warfare, but a devotee is inclined to hear them. The topics of the warfare in which the Lord engages do not concern the war of death, but the war against the chain of Maya, which obliges one to accept repeated birth and death. In other words, one who takes delight in hearing the war topics of the Lord is relieved from the chains of birth and death. Foolish people are suspicious of Krishna's taking part in the battle of Kurukshetra, not knowing that he is taking part in ensured liberation for all who are present on the battlefield. It is said by the Bhishma Deva that all who were present in the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original spiritual existences after death. Therefore, hearing the war topics of the Lord is as good as other devotional service. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Vanita Mataji. So here in this verse, we can see that Hari Katha, actually the main point here is that Krishna Katha gives liberation. Couple of times here, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that these topics about the Lord relieves one from the chain of birth and death. That means liberation. We can come out of this repeated cycle of birth and death by hearing Krishna Katha. And Maitreya says that your inquiry about Lord's Avatar Katha, both Varaha and Narasimha, is befitting a devotee, a sadhu. And the Lord's topics are the source of liberation from the chain of birth and death for the humans. And here also we can see that Vidura, Maitreya Muni is praising the eagerness of Vidur to hear Lord's pastimes. And one who has devotion for the Lord, he is the real hero. So we can see here Veera is hero or warrior. So in the context of not warrior actually, but what it means is that the one who is very eager, Vidura is not taking part in the war, but Vidura, the one who has devotion and who really wants to hear, who's very eager to know about the Lord, is the real hero. That's what Srila Prabhupada explains, that one who has devotion to Lord is real hero. Vidura is wonderful devotee who is known to ask relevant questions about Krishna. Therefore, he is a hero. The inquisitiveness to hear Krishna Katha destroys our attachments to material world, and it acts as source of our liberation. So the speaker and audience of Bhagavatam, they have mutual respect and appreciation for each other, and this makes the Harikatha very, very relishable. Also in Bhagavad Gita, we know, although the context, the scenery is that of being Bhagavad Gita spoken on a battlefield, but the subject matter is about life, how to live a life. Hardly there are 10, 12 shlokas that actually talk about warfare and fight. Everything else is about how to live our life. We know 3 modes of material nature, 5 topics of Bhagavad Gita: Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. How much to eat, what to eat, how to recreate, how to speak. Everything is there in Bhagavad Gita, and it teaches us how to connect with the Supreme through various yogas: Karma, Gnana, Dhyana, Ashtanga, and finally, Bhakti Yoga is the crux. So we know Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyajimam Namaskuru. So here it is saying that it is not about, people don't understand that, okay, warfare is not the topic of the Harikatha here, but anything that Krishna has to tell us, definitely that is the most glorious subject matter, and it will relieve us. Why? Because we will develop with that knowledge detachment from the material world. And it's the devotion and knowledge that will give us the wisdom for the right viveka and discrimination in life, and will make the right choices. And thus, one day, by taking shelter of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, through Shravanam, Kirtanam, and other processes, we will definitely go back to Godhead. As Srila Prabhupada says, if we follow the 4 regulative principles, chant 16 rounds of Mahamantra every day. And here Bhishma Dev is glorified. It is said in the purport by Srila Prabhupada that it is said by Bhishma Dev that all who were present on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original spiritual existence after death. So here the topic is not about who wins and who loses, and it's not the war. It is actually coming out of this cycle of birth and death and going back to Godhead. So we can see that Bhishma Dev in the 9th chapter of first canto, there are Bhishma Dev prayers, and he's speaking to when Krishna and all the Pandavas go and Bhishma Dev is lying on the bed of arrows. He is speaking these beautiful verses and prayers to Krishna. And he says here, Vijayratha Kutumba Attatotre Dhritahaya Rashmini Tat Shriye Kshaniye Bhagavati Rati Rastume Mumurshor Yam Iha Nirikshya Yahata Gata Swarupam. At the moment of death, Bhishma Dev says, let my ultimate attraction be to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjun, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjun's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. So we know about the oath that Bhishma had taken and Krishna had taken, but Krishna is very, very popular. His main quality, most attractive quality is his Bhakta Vatsalyata. He loves his devotee for whom Krishna breaks his own vow of not taking any weapon in the war, and because Bhishma had taken a vow that he will make Krishna do that, but Krishna loves his devotees. So this is the scene, and this is how Bhishma Dev wants to remember Krishna and leave his body. He is the true pure devotee, loving devotee of the Lord. And even in the 3rd canto, Uddhava, when he is speaking to Vidura, before the Vidura Maitra conversation starts, Uddhava speaks Harikatha to Vidura also. And in there he recites this Tathaiva chanye naralokaviraya ahave Krishna mukharavindam Netrai pibanto nayanabhiramam Parthastra padama purasya. Certainly others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows. And while seeing the lotus-like face of Krishna so pleasing to the eyes, they all achieved the abode of the Lord. So that was about the purport of Srila Prabhupada and those 2 verses. And again, this very much this shloka speaks about how Harikatha gives liberation, and there are unlimited shlokas in Srimad Bhagavatam, not to my knowledge, but there are so many and very few. Even those, if I try to put here, we will need like 2 hours from what I know, little bit. So I have just put couple of shlokas here, but if you go through on this theme of Harikatha gives liberation, there are so many sweet shlokas, and in detail, if we read the purports, like I have not been able to put purports everywhere, but I would really say that if you have time and interest and you want to, then these shlokas we can also go back and read the purports. Srila Prabhupada explains beautifully further and gives a lot of enlightenment. So there is one more shloka like this in 1634. Narad Muni says to Vyasadeva, एतत्यातुरचित्तानां मात्रा स्पर्शेच्छया मुहुः भवसिन्धुप्लवो दृष्टो हरिचर्यानुवर्णनम्. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects can cross the ocean of nescience on a most suitable boat, the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. So the most suitable boat is that of Shravanam and Kirtanam of Harikatha. And riding that boat, we can easily cross over this ocean of ignorance, nescience that we are in. And even Brahma's prayers to Lord Krishna after the Brahma Vimohan Leela in the 10:14 chapter, he says that shelter of Krishna's lotus feet is the real shelter. समाश्रिताये पदपल्लवप्लवं महत्पदं पुण्ययशो मुरारेः भवाम्बुधिर्वत्सपदं परं पदं पदं यद् विपदां न तेषाम्. For those who have accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's hoof print. So those who take shelter, what happens for them? The ocean becomes as small as the water that can be contained in a small calf's hoof print. That little the ocean will become. Their goal is Parampadam, Vaikuntha, the place where there are no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. Right? So this material world, there is danger at every step, but once you go to Vaikuntha, that is the real destination. So yes, this is very deep and beautiful shloka. 5 and 6 both similar theme is there. Sixth words we will recite. ययोत्तानपदः पुत्रो मुनीना गीतयार्भकः मृत्यो कृत्वैव मूर्ध्नि अङ्घ्रिम् आरुरोह हरे padam. By hearing these topics from the sage Narad, the son of King Uttanapad, Dhruva was enlightened regarding the personality of Godhead, and he ascended to the abode of the Lord, placing his feet over the head of death. So, here we'll read the purport, and Dhruv Maharaj example is given that how he came out of this, world and went back to Godhead just by hearing the topics of the Lord and getting instruction and guidance from Narad Muni and also his mother. He was totally enlightened about the personality of Godhead, and he goes back to Godhead because when he started first, he had a lot of material desires. He wanted to become bigger than his grandfather even. And have a great kingdom because he was insulted by the co-wife of Suniti, Suruchi, and he was only 5-year-old boy. And as a Kshatriya, his blood was boiling, but he's very, very fortunate to have a devotee mother, Suniti, and guidance of great Acharya Narad Muni who meets him. So we'll read the purport. Someone wants to read? It's a small purport.
I can read, Mataji.
Yeah, please. Yes, Mataji. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, Mataji. While quitting his body, Maharaj Dhruv, the son of King Uttanpad, was attended by personalities like Sunanda and others, who received him in kingdom of God. He left this world at an early age, As a young boy, although he had attained the throne of his father and had several children of his own, because he was due to quit this world, death was waiting for him. He did not care for death, however, and even with his present body, he boarded a spiritual airplane and went directly to the planet of Vishnu because of his association with the great sage Narad, who had spoken to him the narration of the pastimes of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, Hare Krishna. This is so nice. So first here we can see in the fifth shloka that by hearing Krishna Katha, we can come out of the chain of birth and death and get liberation. And in this sixth verse and purport, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada has given the proof of what's said in the fifth verse, that the proof is Maharaj Dhruva, who is son of Uttanapad, and why it's mentioned here so that we understand the history, that why Dhruva went to the forest and he meditated on the form of the Lord. That was actually described to him by Narad Muni, that how the Lord looks, and then he meditates on that deity he makes, and then by very rigorous following all the various kinds of fasting and everything, not even eating, drinking, not even breathing, and how he holds the form of the Lord within his heart, as described by Narad Muni. And with great determination, he prays to the Lord, and within 6 months, he gets darshan of Lord Vishnu, who comes riding on the great magnificent Garuda. And when he touches the conch on Dhruva's head, the entire Shastric knowledge is revealed to Dhruva, and he offers beautiful prayers to Lord Vishnu. And he says that, till now, what I was aspiring was like I was aspiring for pieces of glass, and now that because his aspirations were material, he kind of wanted to take revenge, which is understandable for a 5-year-old Kshatriya boy, how badly he was treated and insulted by Suniti. And Uttama, his stepbrother, had done nothing, but still he had this envy and anger towards both of them, and he wanted to show that I will take revenge. But after seeing the Lord, all his aspirations purify, and he does not want he does not want any of that. And there is this very very nice verse here in 1 minute. I'm just trying to find it if I can. I did put it here. 1 second. It is from, yes, Chaitanya Charitamrit, Madhya Leela. So these are the the feelings of Dhruva afterwards, getting guidance of Mother Suniti and Narad Muni. Suniti says, yes, what the stepmother said is that if you want to achieve something, go and pray to Vishnu. So that is the right thing, she said. And whatever difficulties and all the reversals we face in life is due to our own karma. So, others are just instruments. So we should bear it and go through it. And we should not harbor any bad feelings or grudge in our heart for such people. Instead, we should pray for them. And that's how we can also purify our own, go through the reactions. And Krishna basically loves everyone who learns to tolerate. The one who wants to do tit for tat, give it back. Okay, in this life, we will do our what they call in Hindi hisab will be clear, but in Gujarati also we call it hisab. That okay, fine, our calculations are equal, but no, in the real thing is material world. It's not between us and those people. They are just like instrument bringing our own reactions of our karma back. But end of the day, it is between us and Krishna, because Krishna will see that how we responded to that situation and what we did. And so instead of retaliating, we need to respond in a very wise way that is going to favor our bhakti. So this verse says, Thana Bilasi Tapasi Sthitoham Tvam Praptavan Deva Munindra Guhyam Kacham Vichinvan Api Divya Ratnam Swamin Krutarthosmi Varam Nayache. When he was being blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dhruv Maharaj said, "Oh my Lord, because I was seeking an opulent material position, I was performing severe types of penance and austerity. Now I have gotten you, who are very difficult for the great demigods, saintly persons, and kings to attain. I was searching after a piece of glass, but instead I have found a most valuable jewel. Therefore, I am so satisfied that I do not wish to ask any benediction from you." And this verse is from the Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya 728. So it is like there are broken pieces of glass. What can you do with it? Maybe some people I have seen in India, some walls or some places high up, they put these broken pieces of glass so no one will jump over and come inside, or so people inside feel safe for that way. It's like for protection and security. But with a piece, the real jewel, like a very heavy, so many carat diamond, is something that is very attractive. So that's what it's the comparison given. But what Dhruva is saying, I have found such valuable. I have got your darshan now. There is nothing else left to ask. But at the same time, there is one great thing about this episode also is that when Dhruva is going back to Vaikuntha when the time comes, he remembers his mother, who had 30,000 years back given him the advice, because of whom he prayed to Vishnu and got the darshan and became a devotee of the Lord. He remembers his mother, that where is my mother? She should also go back with me, because she is the one who guided me. And then the Vishnu Dutas say, yes, look back in the other plane, your mother is also coming along with you. And when he gets darshan of the Lord, also he is very grateful to the Lord for the darshan and purification. And at the same time, he remembers Narad Muni, who gave him the right guidance and instructions. So in life, we should also always remember those who try to bring us close to Krishna. And that is the gratitude of Dhruv Maharaj. And also, Prachetas, they chant Rudra Gita, which they learned from Lord Shiva. So it is also their gratitude when actually Lord Vishnu comes to give darshan to Prachetas, they express to the Lord that how grateful they are to Lord Shiva. It's not like, okay, I have got darshan of Lord Vishnu, so I'll forget those who brought me to this, position. So they remember Lord Shiva and are so grateful uh, to Lord Shiva for teaching them Rudra Gita, and they mention it to Lord Vishnu also. So this is the way, there are many instances like that. I have put somewhere if I can find it. Like, for example, okay, I can't find. I'll just say from what I remember is there is Prachetas, then there is also Prithu Maharaj. He hears Krishna Katha from four Kumaras who come to visit him. And there is also Prahlad Maharaj, who is very grateful to Narad Muni. He heard about the Lord's pastimes while he was in his mother's Kayadu's womb. Like that, we can see that Parikshit Maharaj heard from Shukdev Goswami, and then his aspirations are wonderful. Like for Krishna Katha, how much he is aspiring. He says, Punascha Bhuyat Bhagvatyanante Ratim Prasangas Tadashrayeshu Mahatsuyamya Mupayami Shrishtim Maitriyastra Sarvatra Namo Dvijebhya. So what he wants, Punascha Bhuyad. If I take birth again in this material world, I want three things. I want association of your pure devotees. I want to hear Krishna Katha sitting with them and from pure devotees. And I want friendly relations with all. So this is how, and even Prachetas are also praying in the same way that they want to hear. We can see here in devotees association. After they get the darshan, Lord is saying, "What benedictions do you want?" So if we get darshan of the Lord, we'll be like, oh my God, we will even forget other people who are not so great like Vishnu, but they helped us. But they remember that also, and they say, no, we want to go back to doing what we were doing. That is why we got your darshan, which is association of pure devotees, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And there is also very nice words in 4:30:32. Parijate anjasa labde sarangonyan न सेवते त्वदङ्घ्रि मूलम् आसाद्य साक्षात् किं किं वृणीमहि. So here it is Parijata. So it's like a honeybee. When he goes inside a forest, he finds Parijata flower. And this flower is filled with so much honey that the bee understands that now I don't need to search for any other flowers. I can just literally, drink up this honey from Parijata flower, and that would be more than it will completely satiate me. So similarly, we also have wandered so many planets, so many universes. We went through so many species, and somehow, by the mercy of Guru Parampara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, we managed to come to hear Hari Katha. So once we have come to Srimad Bhagavatam, why should we explore many other topics or other things? There is no need. And already there would be so much distractions. Even after we cultivate taste to hear, there will be distractions. So we have to, we need to explore a bit, but we should always remember to keep away from those distractions that keep us away from Krishna Katha. That kind of distractions are not worth exploring. That's what it means, that once I found this Parijata flower's honey, the bee does not go elsewhere. And there is many other shlokas here. This is also very nice. तुल्यामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्संगी संगस्य मर्त्यानां किम उताशिषः. Even a moment's association with a pure devotee cannot be compared to being transferred to heavenly planets or even merging into Brahman effulgence in complete liberation. For living entities who are destined to give up the body and die, association with pure devotees is highest benediction. So like this, and yes, because of the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we know what is the goal of life. So one who knows the purpose of life, which is to attain Krishna Prema, then that person will definitely take interest in hearing Hari Katha. Once you know what is the goal, then you will do it. So there is a very nice, beautiful verse in Sri Chaitanya Chandramrita. Prema namadbhutartha श्रवणपथगत कस्य नाम्ना महिम्ना को वेत्ता कस्य वृन्दा वनविपिन महामाधुरीषु प्रवेशाम् को वा जानाति राधाम् परमरसचमत्कार माधुर्यसीमाम् एकश्चैतन्यचन्द्र परमकरुणया सर्वं विश्चकार. Would anyone have heard that prema, divine love of God, is the highest destination? Would anyone have known the glory of the holy name? Would anyone have had access to the Kadamba forest of Vrindavan, filled with unfathomable sweetness? Would anyone have known Sri Varshabhanvi, Sri Radha, the highest worshipable deity, who is the resplendent embodiment of superb excellence of sweet ecstatic love, Madhurya Mahabhav? Sri Chaitanya Chandra has revealed all these manifesting his supreme magnanimous pastime. So it is the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who came 500 years back, and one of his reasons to descend was to give us love of Godhead, actually to become devotee and demonstrate how to perform bhakti, shravanam, kirtanam, chanting the holy names. And these are the various examples of gratitude of various great personalities and their aspiration to hear Hari Katha. Parikshit Maharaj, Prachetas, Dhruva, Prithu Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, like that. So now we'll come to 7, 8, and 9, and there are no purports in these two verses, and then there's very small purport in the 9th one. So we'll read translation. This history of the fight between the Lord as a boar and the demon Hiranyaksh was heard by me in a year long ago, as it was described by the foremost of the demigods, Brahma, when he was questioned by the other demigods. Okay, so here Maitreya Muni is explaining that he says why the demigods approached Brahma. Demigods approach Brahma because the universe became completely dark due to Diti's pregnancy. And Brahma then describes the history of the 4 Kumaras and this fight of Hiranyaksha, the reason of Hiranyakashipu, when the demigods will question Brahma. So right now, Maitreya is describing that why the demigods went to Brahma. And they had to go because the universe became dark, because Diti was holding the pregnancy of two demons. And how did she get these demons as her children? So that's what Maitreya is going to describe as a backstory of Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu. So the eighth words, translation, Diti, daughter of Daksha, being afflicted with sex desire, begged her husband Kashyapa, the son of Marichi, to have intercourse with her in the evening in order to beget a child. And there is no purport here. So let us see. This is verse number 8. Okay, we'll read 9 also and then discuss. The sun was setting, and the sage was sitting in trance. After offering oblations to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, whose tongue is the sacrificial fire. So here we need to understand that Kashyapa Muni, he is a great sage, one of the Shapta Rishis, and Kashyapa Muni is the son of Kala and Marichi. And Kala is one of the daughters of Devhuti and Kardama Muni. And Marichi is the son of Lord Brahma, born from Brahma's mind. So Kashyapa's parents are Marichi and Kala. Kala is daughter of Devhuti and Kardama Muni. And Diti here, Diti is the daughter of Daksha. So Daksha had 60 daughters with Asikni, and Daksha is the son of Prachetas and Marisha, who is in the lineage of Uttanapa, Dhruv Maharaj, all that. And so this Diti here and the Daksha here we are talking about is from the 6th Manvantara. So Daksha has a different birth. So his first birth is during reign of first Manvantara of Swayambhu Manu. And that time Daksha was born from Brahma as a Brahmana. And he had 16 daughters with wife Prasuti. And their 16th daughter named Sati had married Lord Shiva. And due to Daksha's offense to Lord Shiva, he was punished. And thus Daksha had got a goat head. And then he gave up that body. Then his second birth is in 6th Manu's reign of Chakshusha Manvantara, when Daksha took birth again to Marisha and Prachetas as a Kshatriya. And he performed austerities for 5 Manvantaras, assumed his rulership, and had 60 daughters with Asikni, and a daughter who is the daughter of Panchajana. Out of the 60 daughters, 17 were given to Kashyapa. And from these 17, there were two prominent daughters who are Aditi and Diti. So Aditi is mother of the Devatas and Diti becomes mother of the Daityas. And here we can see that Diti will become afflicted with lust and envy towards her co-wives because they all had children, but Diti did not have a child yet. So thus she comes to Kashyapa asking for pressurizing him for union because she wants a child also, and she requests him to do justice, and many reasons she gives. And thus she will pressurize Kashyapa to respond to her desire to have child at Sandhya time, which is the wrong time, because here in the purport we can see at Sandhya time, Kashyapa Muni being a sage, he is doing so many wonderful like sacrifices, he's giving oblations to the fire, he's chanting his Gayatri, doing his Sandhya Vandan, all that. He is sitting and doing that. That is the time to do that. That is not the appropriate time to fulfill the desire of Diti. And thus, because of the wrong timing, the two demons will be born to Diti. That's what we will see later on. So the purport says that the fire is considered to be the tongue of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, and oblations of grains and clarified butter offered to the fire are thus accepted by him. That is the principle of all sacrifices, of which Lord Vishnu is the master. In other words, the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu includes the satisfaction of all demigods and other living beings. So this is what Kashyapa is doing at Sandhya time. And that's when the tea comes. And we know in Bhagavad Gita these verses are there. Trividham narakashyedam dvaram nashanam atmanaha kama krodhas tatha lobhas tasmadetat tyajet. It is clearly said here that Diti is afflicted by lust and envy both. So these are the three gates to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. And there are these two verses also in second chapter. How it all starts. It starts with the Adhyayato Vishayam Pumsaha. We are meditating on the sense objects first. Then the person develops attachment to it. Sangas teshu pajayate. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. Kamat krodho bijayate. And then with that attachment to lust, anger develops. And krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Sammohat smriti vibramaha. When one gets angry, then he will lose his discrimination, viveka, and memory will be lost, and he'll be bewildered, and intelligence will be lost. And then that is his fall down basically. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smriti vibramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. So in this situation, there is also a mistake of Kashyapa, but primarily because he had weakness of heart, but primarily it is also the mistake of Diti. So we will see that in coming verses, and I have prepared something based on my analysis here, but I will not show those slides. If I get chance to discuss those verses, I mean, if I'm available next Monday and it happens to be still this topic, then I would like to discuss those things which I have the slides. Okay, so thank you so much. It's 8:42, and thank you for your patience and giving your company so we could do Krishna Katha, and please forgive my mistakes. If you have any corrections or question, please you can ask, or we can close the call. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Mataji.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the beautiful class.
So
Hare
much.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Everyone.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank
Thank
you, Mataji.
you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you for the excellent class, Mataji. Thank you.